Yep.
And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Interviews. And tonight we have a really great event. We have the entire team for Florida Man here on the stream together.
Yes, we do.
We're going to talk about Florida Man and we're going to have all kinds of fun things. We had Chris before, and Mike and Todd were in the chat, so it was almost like having all three of them here, but it's not the same as this.
No, it's
not
not.
the same as this.
Special night. Tonight is a special night, folks. And Florida Man looks like an incredible book. I've already backed it. You should do the same.
It looks hilarious, and
yeah, it does.
And the illustrations are awesome, and I still can't get past Habib Rodriguez. I'm sorry, that's still that kills me.
Well, this is one of the things that I think people forget about Mike's writing. I was like a big First Comics fan, so I was like my favorites were Grimjack and Nexus. And Mike had Nexus, which could get pretty dark, but it had Judah Maccabee, the Hammer, who was like the comic relief. And then he also had the Badger, and that was just completely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Humor's a part of any story. Even Schindler's List has a few jokes.
Right? Yeah. You do need something, even like in like the darkest horror films and such. But I always find it interesting when writers sort of have, like, Joe Lansdale is one of these guys. There's like Joe Lansdale, the proper writer, and then there's Naughty Joe, who does like these really crazy pieces that little books I can't even talk about because they're so filthy.
We're not talking about Tijuana Bibles, are we?
No, I was thinking more about the Ape Man's brother.
Oh.
Where Cheetah kind of has an affair with Jane.
Brian, you are so well read. You never cease to impress me.
Oh, thanks, brother.
My local comic book shop, I guess it was about a week and a half ago, had this. They got in just a ton of long boxes of books that, there were a lot of reader copies, so they weren't a bunch of mint. The owner had already combed through all that. So they had a deal where you spend $40 and you get to stuff a short box full of comics and just whatever you want. And I found almost, there were some key issues missing, but I found almost the entire run of Mike's Punisher.
Heck yeah.
Punisher, yeah. So I'm looking forward to diving into that. I did find his Magnus Robot Fighter issue.
Oh, that's really good too.
A couple of other things that he had written that I didn't get around to, and right now they escape my recollection. But
that was before I knew how to write.
Yeah, he just learned how to write a couple of years ago. You know that.
I'm still trying. I still have this feeling like, okay, it's like I get good reviews. I'm like, okay, when are people gonna figure me out? When are people gonna go, wait a second, you're not supposed to be here? Please tell me, Mike, that feeling goes away eventually.
Yeah, if you write enough.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
There you go. There it is, folks.
Mike is always writing. One of the rules. Mike, tell us some of your idioms about writing.
Well, number one is the writer's job to entertain. 2, show don't tell. And 3, be original. But one thing I do is I carry a notepad with me at all times. And I write down any idea that occurs to me, no matter how stupid or extraneous, including names and titles for stories I want to tell. Because sometimes you'll hear a title, you'll see it, it just resonates, and it's crying out for a story. And one that's been giving me grief for several years now is Drunk Octopus Wants to Fight. Now, I love the title, but I don't know what to do with it.
It'll come to you one of these days, Mike. You're going to be like waiting in line at like Walmart or someplace like that, and suddenly, boom!
An octopus will land on my head.
You never know.
So it's made it into a book here or there, hasn't it, Mike? That concept, at least?
Actually, I'm working on a new series called Rogues for a Spanish publisher. It's about a Conan-type guy named Bram and his beautiful sidekick Weasel. Bram and Weasel. It's called Rogues. It's famous in Europe. And the guy that hired me, his name is El Torres. He wrote a whole bunch of them. And they were laugh out loud funny. They're really good. So I'm doing a series of those. And it does, in fact, feature a belligerent drunk octopus.
Are we going to get English translations of those?
Yeah, they're in English.
Oh, okay, awesome. Because Simon and I were big French comics fans. We're very much into the comics as an international medium. Somebody say something.
You said comics is an international medium. I thought there was more coming.
No, I just I don't want to.
Brian, you got us used to those long monologue. Come on.
The European market for
we have guests.
The way the European market works is completely excellent. They don't do periodicals. They do tomes, or they call them editions or whatever. Yep. And it's about 60 pages. It's a complete story. There are something like Undertaker or Long John Silver was a 3-issue tome, and it was one complete story.
Ooh.
But there's many of them, like Black Sad. That's each book is a case.
Yeah. I've got that, as a matter of fact. I haven't read it yet. Ooh. Drew, can we blow up Mike's screen for a second?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, man, that looks high tea.
That's awesome.
Dripping with toxic masculinity.
Why is it got to be toxic?
Femininity.
Why is it got to be toxic? Why can't it just be dripping with
Wait a
masculinity?
second, I got a couple more here.
Because of the age we're living in, man. It's 2020. Didn't you know that?
Definitely, all Mike stuff is high tea, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Look at that.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, that looks great.
Nice.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's a market it's a style of market that we should adapt here.
I think so too.
I'd rather put something on my shelf than bag and board it. I'm
all
done. I'm all done. So I want really good editions of stuff.
Oh wait, I'll show you some more. What the hell?
Have you guys ever seen Undertaker by Ralph Meyer?
No.
Oh my God! Absolutely gorgeous book.
I would love to be able to just do graphic novels and not floppies, but it's kind of expensive to
beautiful
to skip the floppy process.
I see alligators on that cover.
Nice.
Mike, how big is that? What is that? A trade?
No, it's the size of a regular comic, I think.
Man, I like Amigo's attitude for sure.
Yeah, gators.
Gators, nice.
Beautiful. Well,
do they escape? That's the question.
Do the gators escape? I hope so.
Maybe not in one piece. Oh man, yeah, that's putting your characters on a limb in song.
I'll probably show you this one too.
Beautiful.
Anyhow, that's Bram and Weasel.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Very cool.
Me want, must have. Where can we get this?
I don't know. I'd start at Amazon, see if they're available there, but Diamond might have them.
Okay. Well, Diamond, of course, not so much in the comic book distribution business these days, which is really interesting. But we shall see what comes to take its place. But I personally think that the indie comic scene is what's going to take the place of the mainstream comic scene, because just because people aren't reading Marvel and DC and Image and Dark Horse, it doesn't mean that they don't still want comic books.
Right.
And that's where we come in.
Yeah, people want to be entertained.
I'm hoping the subscription model comes back. That's my design.
That's a good idea.
Well, anything that isn't worthy will get proven really quick.
Yes.
And anything that is, I always thought they should have bought into webtoons, and each company had its own webtoons for R&D, where you can kind of groom a writer and sort of mentor him and get, and then if there's something there like Safe Space that it is worthy of a book of itself, then it would prove itself.
Exactly.
It can't prove itself, and you just force it into the stores. You're doing a disservice to the store, to the distribution, to the market,
Yeah, I mean, I've literally sold more comics than Max Visaggio. Which is like, when I realized that, I put the numbers together, I was like, oh my God. But, it's not exactly a meritocracy right now. But, and I know a lot of people, and it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to see what's happened to Marvel and DC and the major independents. Our friend Preston Acevedo, he had a comic called Rockabilly Road Trip that was ready to go with a major indie publisher, and they told him at the last minute, sorry, we can't do it because the plot, we might catch a little heat on Twitter.
Oh no, really?
Yeah. And if you read that comic, it's completely not offensive in any way, shape, or form. You'd have to be looking for something to be offended by. But then, of course, we have a whole entire group of people whose entire existence seems to be about finding things to be offended about.
Because the bad guy, the bad thing in the book is menopause. What they used to call menopause before. So that's why it was like people went, ooh.
Yeah. Because the plot concerned an urban legend, from the 1800s, where women, if you had a bunch of menopausal women around each other at the same time, they would catch this disease that would make them go insane and kill all the men.
Yep.
And so in the story, it's real. And so the publisher looked at that and was like, yeah, sorry.
Not happening.
Yeah, not happening. Can't do it.
Did he take it anywhere else?
He took it to Indiegogo.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I mean, my property is, my IP should be highly offensive to these people, but they fucking leave me alone. So I don't understand.
I know, me too. I feel left out, Drew. I feel hurt.
Yours isn't a guy that goes around, fucking chicks and booting them out the door. You know what I mean?
No, but I'm sure if they looked over it, they could find something to be offended by.
Maybe.
Nobody's ever going to be offended by a gorilla with a 6-shooter. And if they are, they need to get out of comics.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying. I don't. The person that walks by the comic book rack and doesn't at least pick that up and flip through it, I don't understand that, dude or gal.
Absolutely, you picked a good one.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
And you guys have picked a good one with Florida Man.
These guys came up with this crazy idea. Mike's been reading the. Mike, tell us how you came up with Florida Man.
I would go online every day and there'd be another story about Florida Man. Some of my favorites are Florida Man claims syringe found in rectum is not his. and after a while, it just like a pearl. This idea kept growing in my brain. I realized I had to write a novel about this guy. Who is Florida Man? Who would do these things? Well, he can't do all these things because a lot of the things are sordid and criminal, and we didn't want that. Although some of the things that Gary does are criminal.
Sure.
But one of my theories of storytelling is that the reader wants somebody with whom they can identify and for whom they can root. So Gary's a very sympathetic character. He's just got a hair-trigger temper and makes bad decisions. And he likes to drink a little and do some other stuff. And so I started putting it together.
Everybody's got friends like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, I started working up a script. When I do a comic strip, I kind of start with a compelling scene and go from there. But I had some ideas, and I wrote 5 scripts. And when I was done, I realized I had a detailed outline for a novel. So I wrote the novel, and I sold that. And then Todd and I had been talking about doing it. And then it came up again, and Todd said he was available. And I couldn't run a campaign, so I turned to Chris, and Chris said he would be willing to do it, so we were off and running. But the thing about the book is it's the funniest comic ever written. You are guaranteed to burst out laughing multiple times. Your head will explode, and your eyes will pop out of your skull.
Oh, hell yeah. Like the end of Scanners.
Precisely.
If that doesn't sell it. And then they'll bounce around the room like those super balls that you'd get out of the candy dispensers. Bing, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. The goal here is that when you're done with the book, you either start reading it again or you shove it in somebody else's hand and say, you've got to read this.
Yeah.
We're bringing back funny books, and Mike's got a great concept. Todd's, nailing it on the art. We did post a fun little pinup from Barry McLean Jr. Mike's working on another project with him. So he did a nice, fun little pinup for Florida Man. Everybody's got their masks, their masks on, and he's out there selling some hand sanitizer, which he calls the cure-all. So we've got some. I mean, everybody's having fun with it. And what's the story, Mike, about his machete was named Kindness, right? So
I have that. That's not Gary, but Florida Man threatens to kill neighbors with kindness.
So there's constantly stories. All Mike has to do is open up the newspaper every day. There's something Florida Man, and he can just say, is this Gary? Is this his girlfriend? Is this one of his friends? Or can I just not make that work? And if he can't make it work, he just waits till the next day, you know?
That's hilarious. We got some guests. We got Rob Muerto and Supreme Heretic and Pop Van Zant all in the chat. Welcome, fellas.
What's up, folks? What's up, folks?
Thanks, guys.
And Rob, of course, is the author of Tales from the Classroom, which is an all ages book, which we need more of. An excellent all ages book, nice. And another thing we need is we do need more funny books.
Yeah, I think that this project, you know, Mike is, the art speaks for itself, and Mike's an Eisner Award-winning writer, Inkpot winner, back when Eisner's actually, you know, it actually meant something to win one.
Yep.
And I think that if this had been a superhero book, we might have even done a little bit better. You know, we're winding down. We've got nearly 500 backers. We just broke through the 25,000 wall.
Beautiful.
Our goal, we would love to hit 50. We're planning to possibly go into in demand when this ends, so some people can still sneak in. But we'd love to hit 50 with it. But we're very happy with where we got to now, and everything's just coming along really nicely. But I think, you know, this is like Florida Man. He's got a heart of gold. You might even be thinking that his girlfriend is kind of the hero in a couple of sequences, but he's like the worst superhero ever. So we're just having fun. It's a bit clownish. As a matter of fact, some of the situations are so wild that I think Todd and Mike are challenged to make it work. You know, it's like, how can we make this actual true event work in this comic this way? You know, will our characters even do it? Because Gary's got a heart of gold at the end of the day. He's just, you know, grabbing new bingo cards, looking for some quick cash. He actually does win the lottery in this book.
That can't be good.
Oh, that brings him nothing but grief, believe me.
Yeah, nothing but grief.
Yeah, that can't be good.
Have you guys seen the trailer? I mean, the trailer sets it up like a Dukes of Hazzard episode.
Why don't we give it a play?
Hell yeah.
Let's mute ourselves.
Hey man, y'all got beer still?
You've seen the stories. Now, writer Mike Barron and artist Todd Mulrooney are bringing the quintessential Florida man, Gary Duba, to life. Gary's just a regular guy living in a trailer with his girlfriend Crystal, but he's got dreams, big dreams. He just invented house suspenders that will secure any home to the ground in rough weather. And now he's going to show them off on Piranha Pool, the TV show where venture capitalists and entrepreneurs pony up if they like your pitch. But when his gal Crystal gains notoriety as an infamous amateur wrestler, she quickly advances to the pro circuit where her greatest challenge is an angry Australian grappler. Follow Gary and Crystal on their extraordinary journey from rags to riches. To rags, to riches, to rags, to riches. All while dealing with shady lawyers, toilet snakes, wild gators, cheating hearts, feral hogs, and problem shoppers. Back Florida Man today and reserve your very own copy of the Florida Man graphic novel. We're bringing back funny books, y'all.
Oh, that is awesome. This looks so good. And Todd, man, you're killing it with the art. Yeah. Killing it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can't get over how, I mean, like, I don't usually get to see hand-drawn art in a comic where cars are, if I'm a car guy, I can totally identify the cars. You know what I mean? That is just, I mean, that is awesome. I mean, I know a lot of people be like, oh, whatever, dude, they're just cars, but no. I mean,
No, you notice that stuff. It takes you out of the comic book if it's something that like the really old Punisher comics, when the Punisher would have guns that were like completely fictitious. I feel like it would take me.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. That's not your fault, Mike. That's not your fault. I'm not talking about yours. I'm not talking about yours.
That truck that Todd drew is actually a little further down the campaign. If you scrub down there, you'll see it. I think it's probably on the last panel. So just jump on down
the last time you were on the show, Chris, we found the Apache.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you actually discovered what it was. That's it. Yeah,
that is a 1956 Ford F1 pickup.
This is an F1.
Great.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it has the V8 chrome on the front there, and then it has 2 V8 symbols on the side that look like shields.
I thought that was the Apache logo.
That is so awesome.
No.
Now watch out, Todd. Drew knows his freaking cars it's like an uncanny superpower.
The only addition to this that you would see different from the original, by the way, are those 2 upper mirrors. That's sort of a thing that they do in restoration and stuff. I mean, those mirrors didn't come like that on the 1956.
Are you saying that Gary Duba's classic truck might not be all original, Todd?
That's a heavy allegation.
I know.
I'm just saying I went with one that was certainly restored.
Okay,
certainly.
Well, it's beautiful. I mean, he's doing beautiful work. And Ixan Ansori is our colorist, and he just cranks it out. I flipped that pin up to him, and the next day, just beautiful colors. Now Brett Smith did the cover, but Brett is probably busier than a one-legged man at an ass-kicking contest. I don't know if we can say that on this channel, but
yeah, you can. We've said much worse.
Okay, he's super busy, and Ixan was just hungry, and man, he's doing such a great job. Look at that neon back there; it's so good, and the chrome looks good.
Yeah, it's a beautiful-looking book.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
And if I could just jump in with a comment from the chat, Supreme Heretic says, "Hey Chris, much love from the boys at Bounding. Bleeding Fool and Bounding are the best community publications we have, brother. Amen to that."
Go Bounding, love it. Thanks so much. Yeah, they inspired me to do what I was doing, and so did Bleeding Cool. Honestly, if Bleeding Cool wasn't such a trash website, I probably wouldn't waste time doing it. But you gotta have other perspectives out there, and of course, Bounding in the Comics is doing yeoman's work. I mean, they leave us in the dust. Every now and then, we get a good nugget over at Bleeding Fool that takes off, but they're doing the real work at Bounding.
Well, yeah, I think of you as like brother and sister sites. You know what I mean? Or more like a tag team.
I'm friends with John, and John Trent is good people for sure. If I ever decide to hang it up, or if they ever sue me out of existence, maybe I'll go start writing for Bounding or something. We'll see what happens.
that would be awesome.
Okay, we'll see. I like those guys. Thanks for the comment and the shout out.
Drew, could you do me a solid and just blow up my screen for a second?
Boom.
Ooh, looky there. Nice.
See, that's what I'm talking about, Mike. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That was before Mike got a hold of him.
Exactly, and actually did his research.
Yeah,
and provided reference material for his artists. I'm assuming, which is something I try to do.
If we do something wrong, we would hear about it.
I don't doubt it. There's always gonna be somebody that's gonna pick it out and bust your chops about it.
Especially these days. Of course, the critics today that like to call comics problematic, I don't think they recognize guns. Now, wait, to be fair, Brian, I don't think that's a 3-barrel gun. I think he's just moving it really fast.
Oh, no, I know, but what the heck is it?
I don't have a clue. They don't either. It's a gun.
Yeah. Like, that at least sort of looks like I'm thinking like a Beretta submachine gun possibly there?
It's not a sawed-off shotgun? I can't tell.
Yeah, you know what? It is a 53 Ford F-150, of course. Where it is right there.
Oh, man, that is freaking... Oh, that is gorgeous.
Drew's all over it.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. He is a classic car fiend.
Now Todd draws some cars. I mean, there you may see something else. You'll see some other stuff in there, but I don't know if it's going to be as pretty as
Well, if
Gary's
you guys
truck.
read the second half of the script, right?
What? Uh-oh. He's talking out of turn.
There's obviously.
Wait,
Look, I'm
There-
putting in cars that always made me smile when I see them. I've made some deals with people to put in their car just to get them to back the book.
Oh, you're
Todd's
getting a
making
little
side
on the
deals.
side.
Yeah, he's making side deals.
So
if you want a car
It's a
suggestion,
side hustle.
if you want a car suggestion, you can always
Oh,
A
We need to
Caliente.
see that full screen, Drew.
caliente. Yeah, seriously, blow that up,
Throw
brother.
that up for us, yeah, so we can go back later and look. Oh yeah.
Nice.
That looks
Yeah,
like
that's my baby right there.
if you want it in the book, you got to back it, and I'll put it in there.
Back it, Drew, and then comment and leave it, and we'll do it. It happens. Todd's the man.
There's Pepper Potts. Hi, Pepper Potts.
Look out for that cat.
Yeah, that's Pepper Potts. She lets Drew know when she's displeased with him.
Oh, most cats do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, she
So-
don't hold back. She don't hold back.
Yeah. One time we were doing a stream and you just see this paw come into the frame and start going at his face like, hey, MFer, me. So we love Pepper Potts. He even set up a Pepper Potts cam, although she has to be in the right spot for that.
Yeah, she's kind of spoiled right now. She's kind of just right here.
Mike's got doggies?
Yeah, they're worthless. Look at them.
No.
Just lying there.
Poop Poopalicious is. Aw.
They don't even make the bed. I mean, come on.
Aw.
Oh, I know. I
Precious.
keep telling my cats they need to learn how to do laundry,
Oh,
and the reason why is because they have so much cat hair. It's on everything. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
God,
it's
yeah.
like- I'm like, you guys need to just do my laundry for me.
Oh, Sparkle's in the chat. What up, Sparkle?
Hey, Sparkle's here. So she did post she didn't really post the link, but she did give me the link here. Hold on, I'm going to throw that out there. Sparkle is a good friend of mine, good friend of the show. She is trying to do Miss Health and Fitness 2020. She's like I believe she's in first place right now for the
Good.
cover, and she would really appreciate everybody voting for her. And let me get that into the chat.
All right, let me make a note.
Michael,
This
do
is
it.
why you always carry a notepad and a pen.
And really, I do hope that you guys go into demand with this
Yeah.
because right now is kind of like a tough time for a lot of campaigns.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Well, I think it has to do with a variety of circumstances. Part of it is that people don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
Sure.
The economy is really rough right now, and I don't know. I just hope that you stay in demand because Simon, for instance, I think he was at. You were at I think 8, before, when you were gonna end the campaign, and then people
Yep.
were like, "No, dude."
Yeah, well, I was at 8 and about close to 8, and people told me not to close, leave it open for an extra few days. Then some people went, wait till the check, wait an extra 2 weeks. So I decided, I announced that I was gonna keep it open till I was ready to go to print,
Yeah.
and I made it to 12,500. And-
Wow. Well, we're
Hail,
thinking about
Simon.
that. We're thinking about that. We definitely want to deliver on time. But these campaigns can kind of be draining because you spend a lot of time worrying about responding to comments or what's coming in or here's a new order and so on and so forth. And I know eventually you got to close it so that you get in your special orders. I wanted to let me ask you guys. You guys are a lot more experienced at crowdfunding.
Mhm.
Do you ever think about doing Kickstarter too? I mean, is anybody doing that? I know
Some
Mike
people
Miller
have.
did that.
Billy Tucci did both, and right now Brian has his book on Kickstarter, which collected some money with zero effort.
Yeah, I did a little experiment, just
Okay.
purely an experiment. I put Six Gun Gorilla, just a trade paperback, on Kickstarter, and made a point not to promote it. Made a point not to mention it on Twitter. Made a point not to mention it on Facebook, and I'm at about 1,300 right now.
he was
after
just-
about a week.
He's just testing the internal marketing of Kickstarter only.
Yeah.
Because you fulfilled
also
already
Hey,
on
Drew, can you
Indie,
share my
right?
screen for a sec?
I'm in the process. Yeah.
Okay, and what I mean is you hit the goal for sure.
Oh yeah. So I just did it as an experiment, and there's no reason not to. I mean, of course, Kickstarter, they've got a lot of SJWs working there, and they shut a lot of projects down.
Yeah.
So that is an issue, but
aside from
it's
Kickstarter,
the bigger
though,
platform.
aside from Kickstarter, also going in demand is also pretty good. Like, say if you get all these orders in, right?
Mhm.
And then a lot of people won't buy the book until other people have talked about reading it. You know what I mean?
That too.
So like, for instance, when I did my first campaign, I got to like $3,300 on my book.
Yeah.
And then since it's been like it's been 6 months, maybe a little bit more, in like 9 months, I guess, because it's July now. 9 months since I fulfilled the campaign. Actually, no, 6 months since I fulfilled the campaign, whatever. Anyway, so that point it's not, but I have gone the 10K on that, and so basically I have tripled the money that I made on the campaign itself, being in demand.
Yeah.
And that was even after I fulfilled, because people saw the books, they got the books in their hands. People were like, oh, this is a great quality book. It's great quality art. I love the story. This is great stuff. You guys need this book. Then people would buy it in demand, and I overran, so I have stock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm making money off of those books after the fact.
That's
you know what I mean?
great.
So I'm considering this book 25K. You guys should be making more, but it's just not a good time right now because of everything that's been going on. It's just kind of like one of those things that goes up and down. But
it's a perfect storm. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys overrun, and you don't have to overrun a lot, just like here's the thing is, like, say if you get what you guys have. Let's look right here. Right now, you guys have let's see, roughly 488 backers. So that is, let's just say you have like 700 books.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if you went and actually ran an additional, like make it 1,500 books, right? It's only going to cost you another couple $100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then you have the ability to sell all those books. Right. And then if you even run it more, like make it to $2,000, 200,000 books, it's still not that much more money. But then when the conventions come back, you're going to have books that you can sell, you know what I mean, in person, that people are going to want, because they're not going to be able to get it anywhere else. So
it's like the idea of also having bundles on your next campaigns, which your books from before, right? So people that discover you as you go can also buy a bundle with everything else. Like me, my next campaign's the only place people can find Blood Hunt anymore.
Right.
Oh, sure. Like when they come out with Volume 2, if you can bundle it with Volume 1 instead of having to go back and print more Volume
Absolutely.
1s.
If you have some that you got from the same run because you made money, you know what I mean. Also, if you're going to throw it onto the campaign, you could also do a variant cover for Volume 1. Not have to redraw any of it, just redraw the variant cover and then do another print run on that also when you do another campaign.
Oh, that's
but
a great idea.
I do recommend the overruns so that you can continue to collect money on it even after you fulfill it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, you've definitely been thinking that, but the idea was to just do enough overruns so the guys have several copies for the cons. But you're right. I mean, I'm only seeing we really would like to book them at a Florida con.
Oh God, yeah.
One, right? Instead of just going to whatever's in their hometown. But man, so many of them have been canceled. I'm looking at a couple right now in Florida around December and March. But man, it's so bleak.
Yeah, it is.
I just wish everybody would get sick, get over with it, and let's just move on. This looks awesome here of Gary Duba with his gator, man.
Yeah.
And a nice cold 6-pack.
Yes.
Simon, killing it.
Yeah, I was inspired, and I decided to do a quick little sketch.
Boy, that's great, Simon. It looks awesome.
Thanks.
Love it.
He's a boss.
By the way, on Thursday, we'll be on Drawn and Quartered, Chester Busby's channel.
Oh,
Simon,
excellent.
if you want to come we're going to be doing Florida Man, and if you want to do a version of Crystal or something.
Or finish this if you don't. This is great, too. Yeah, man, this looks good.
Yeah, he just did this like while we were chatting.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Yeah, killer. Yeah, Simon has mad crazy skills.
But
yeah,
it's rough sketches when you look. When it's like
yeah, yeah.
it's like
But
a rough
still, man,
pencil. Yeah.
that's beautiful. That's good work.
yeah,
Good
it
work.
is.
Now,
So,
there looks like there's too many beers left on that six pack, though. You need a couple of rings. Maybe. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there's 4 left.
He's holding by the 2 rings. I got it. Okay. He's had 2. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I love it. That's great. Man, that's good.
Let's add like a little something too.
So that's a good experiment then with Kickstarter, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to do it as an experiment, and I was really shocked because I set my goal really low, $500,
Yep.
and it was literally fulfilled, like I met my goal in 6 hours.
Yeah, because you did it so low, and I think that helps the algorithm a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Yeah. And here's the thing. I think there's a lot of people that used to work in comics or people that want to get into the crowdfunding game. This is all stuff that you can learn. And this is a community of people that are happy to share their knowledge with you because we were all in the exact same spot that you're in right now.
Yeah.
And I had 2 unsuccessful campaigns before I had a successful one. I like to say I had 3 first campaigns. So we all learn from each other's, the stuff that we do right. And I always like to say, we especially learn from each other's blunders. We learn what not to do. And one of them is to set your goal too high.
Yeah.
right.
Well, and I got to be honest with you. When Mike first came to me about doing this, on Bleeding Full, we do. You guys have been featured in the Indie Comic Showcase where we
have.
cover
Thank you.
2 or 3.
Yes,
No problem.
thank you.
So we've done almost 100 of those now. I think we'll hit 100 in August. They come out every Wednesday, and there's 3 campaigns. And one of the questions that everybody gets asked is, what are you learning doing this crowdfunding thing? And so I try to remember a lot of this stuff. But, Todd had some ideas about, really having a low goal, just like what you said about hitting it and having the algorithm. But I was a little nervous at first because I thought there's a new splash from Todd right there that hasn't been on the campaign. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
So I was a little nervous because, I'm playing with their livelihoods, right? I mean, I've got my thing. I'm
Right.
not famous for comic books, but this is Todd's career. Potentially can make a career out of this. And Mike is a legend, so the last thing I need to do is screw it up for Mike.
Right.
For sure. And
Right.
I don't want to harm Todd in any way. I want to try to get him as much money as we can. And man, some of this stuff's expensive. We dove in and did, lunch boxes and beach towels. Man, the profit margin on those things is thin.
Yeah.
Because who wants to pay $75 for a lunchbox? Nobody, right? So we don't charge. We're not charging a premium for these things, even though the prices look premium. But they're fun. I mean, we're just trying to. It's like Todd emphasized in the beginning. Is like, and I think he got this from guys like John Mayer and some of the other guys. It needs to be an event. Make this campaign an event that somebody's getting in on.
Yep.
And so we want to have a lot of fun with it. And we have these strategy sessions about once a week. Typically, I think we've skipped maybe 1 week since we all started, maybe 2. But we talk, throughout the week. None of us have met in person. Todd and Mike haven't met in person. I've never met these guys. They'll all come to my hometown to autograph the books. And then we're going to do a run by my LCS for a little surprise signing party with some stuff.
Oh, wow.
Man, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I mean, back here are
Right.
all long boxes. I've been collecting comics. Over there's all my graphic novels. I like the stuff on the shelf. But unlike Todd, I do have a bunch of comics in sleeves that I want to take care of. But to be able to work in comics, to be able to know these guys, I mean, this is a step beyond writing reviews for Bleeding Full or doing, taking Tom King to task because he's trying to slap down another artist I like, Jay Lee, over stupid stuff. This is fun. This is the business of comics, making the comics, selling, hyping the comics.
Yes.
And what these guys are creating here is something, in my mind, is going to resonate forever. I mean, what do you think the people that drew those old Jerry Lewis comics thought, right? Did they think that one day people would be collecting them? This thing, all these books you guys are working on, every comic we've got, look at that. Oh, yeah. Having a good time.
Oh, cuddle puddle.
But every one of these comics, man, are going to be, not all of them, but some of them may turn out to be nice collector's editions that people really cherish. And it might be somebody saying, "Man, I love this book. Where's this book been?" Or
well,
this
whole concept is like super just waiting for Adult Swim to pick it up. You know what I mean?
Oh,
This concept right here is the people that create for Adult Swim and that community. I don't know if you're on their radar yet or not, but I can see them, like loving this whole idea and concept because it's right down their alley. I mean, they already
we'll send them a copy.
Yeah,
we've got a couple of not mainstream publishers. It's not Marvel or DC. Obviously, this isn't up their alley, but we've had some interest there. But you're right. Wouldn't it be great to have something like King of the Hill make this the next King of the Hill type comic?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, you know what it reminds me of a little bit is it reminds me of Trailer Park Boys and something that Mike said, which is that even though it's a funny book, you have to be invested in the characters. Something like Trailer Park Boys, it's like, I don't know what season they're on now, but they wouldn't have lasted 2 seasons if you didn't have a personal affection for the characters.
Precisely.
Because if it's just gag after gag after gag, there's no attachment there.
Yeah.
Mike's got a loving pooch.
Well, Mike's a great writer, and he's definitely got. He's very particular too. I'm gonna. This may sound like a critique, but Mike is super critical of anything because he has developed this story that's like, I don't know if you guys know what a Rube Goldberg machine is.
Yes.
But the thing is all these components work a certain way. And, I get ideas like, oh, should he really do that? And Mike's like, yes, he should. Don't question the process. And Todd's like, I kind of want to draw this. And Mike's like, no. I mean, Mike's a bit of a whip cracker, which is good because I'm the neophyte. This is only Todd's second or third book. Mike has got a freaking long boxes of books. He knows what he's talking about. And we should respect that.
Hell yeah.
Everybody wants to get creative. Everybody wants to, say they have their say about doing it. And of course, Todd's in a pinch because he's got to draw all this. Mike has all these awesome ideas, but Todd's got to figure out a way to lay it all out.
Right.
And Mike has been helpful, and Mike can draw.
No.
He can draw. I'm just going to leave it there. He can draw, and you can tell what he drew. But he's nowhere near the competency. He's not even really a draftsman at it. But he can at least panel things out. And then Todd's like, oh boy, it's kind of like something a second grader would do. But Todd translates it and turns out something beautiful. So I mean, it works. But Mike he's a stickler, and I think it's because he's very particular. He's a good storyteller.
Well, I mean, a large part of the process I always feel is that you have to set your egos aside. And it's not about ego. It's about the finished product. Yeah. And, you embrace the collaborative nature. But if you have somebody that really knows what they're doing, a Hall of Famer like Mike, you might want to sit back and listen sometimes.
Yeah, we defer to him.
Yeah, have we massaged your ego enough, Mr. Barron?
No harm.
Well, look, these guys are promising laugh out loud, right? So I have to execute that, and there's certainly times where I have to take note of what the story is, right? What's the story? What's the scene? What needs to be on this page, and then find that moment where I might be able to execute a laugh or foreshadow a laugh that is about to come on the next page. So it's a lot of that. So sometimes there's a beat that has to be hit, and sometimes that beat isn't there, but I have to put it there so that the laugh is coming. And so I got to set you up with the laugh. So, it is definitely a collaborative book, and I'm really trying to certainly stick with the story, but make sure I hit that beat because something's about to happen.
Right, and comedy is the most difficult genre, really.
Absolutely, it is, because especially in this book, right, where the comedy's really it's in the situation, it's in this, it's in the moment. It's not a punchline, it's not a pun, it's not an idiom. It's really in what Gary does, and then who reacts to what he's doing, and the weight is in who reacts to it. It's really not so. If Gary walks into a convenience store with an alligator holding it like an AK-47, but if no one reacts to it, then it has no weight. It's a deflated balloon. So definitely, all the weight is sort of in the scene, in the moment, and who reacts to that.
Yeah, whenever you read a comic book and like the pacing or the beats are off, it always it's jarring, and that's one thing you don't want. You don't want any excuse for the reader to be taken out of the story.
Right. You don't want that
even a second.
Abrupt. If there's something abrupt that stops you, then the words might get clunky to you. Right. You're reading along, like, wait a minute, something doesn't jive. Yep. And so it's something that happens quickly mentally, and then you start to figure it out. Oh, something wasn't right. It happens.
Yep.
I gotta make it not happen.
That's a badass page, by the way. The guy in the bunny costume.
Oh yeah, now that Joe Comstock did that. I believe that's a Toyota Celica Supra 1984 model. I'm not sure if Mr. E picked up on the car in the parking lot back there.
Yeah, the Datsun.
I think it's a Datsun. I think it's a Toyota Celica Supra.
No. With this right here, the fins, it has to be a Datsun.
Okay, see, told you, he's got superpower.
Yeah, he does.
So that's something that Joe did.
I don't know about that.
Uh-oh, Mike's debating it.
That looks like a Toyota to me.
Okay,
That could be an aftermarket. That could be an aftermarket piece.
Yeah, that could be an aftermarket louver.
We'll just never know.
No, I can find out.
And then the next one is a new pinup from Barry McLean Jr. So that's fun.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Another thing that you guys might want to consider are variant covers. Like, I'm not a variant cover guy. I just want the book, right?
Me too. Yeah.
But it's not like you're double dipping or anything like that, because people actually want these variant covers. Mm-hmm. And if you can offer that stuff to them, why not, if they're asking for it?
Right. Well, the thing the conflict that I have there is, obviously we're not printing these one-offs. So I mean, you need to get a bundle of, at least 100 or so for it to even be worth it to do a variant. Mm-hmm. We had explored doing a variant with like a sketch cover. The people that we're looking at, though, I think it was either beyond their ability to do, or they couldn't do it reasonably.
Let's face it, what we really need is something that sits alongside of that other cover. It's either as good or even better. You know what I mean? That's the hard thing, because that cover hit all the notes.
And that's a great cover, Todd.
Yeah, that was a synergy between me and Brett. The idea was all Mike. He wanted the alligator jumping cars, so it just hit everything we needed to hit. And it's a matter of what other note could you come up with that could sit alongside that and make people go, you know what, I'd rather have that than this.
Right.
Really, you can't improve on that cover.
No, you can't. That's for sure.
It's one of my top 20 of all covers of all time, and I think it's because just what Todd says. It's a synergy, because it was Mike's idea. Mike said, "This is what I see for the cover." Todd brought it all together, and then Brett did his magic dust on it, and bam, there it was. And I think this one with Barry, what Barry's done, this is super fun, and it's on brand. It's definitely on brand, but it wasn't Mike's idea. I don't think. I think it was just Barry's interpretation, which is what Joe did too, which are fun. That's pinups, and this could be a variant cover too, but maybe this will be the cover of issue 2, because we're doing a 64-page graphic novel, boys. So right out of the gate, this thing could be broken into 3 issues, and then we've got more, because how many stories have you got, Mike? How many Florida? Endless. Did you hear that, HBO? Endless.
Endless.
There's always going to be Florida Man stories in the paper. As long as there's a Florida. Florida like breaks off and falls into the ocean,
Oh,
then maybe not. But until
Yeah.
that happens, yeah.
you've got a vivid imagination.
No, I already have the second issue. I'm plotting it in my mind. Then I got an idea for a new Florida Man novel, which is going to kill you if you're still alive after this.
Oh hell yeah.
So there's
Yeah,
more
I
to
don't
come.
see. I don't see Florida falling into the ocean as
No,
much
me neither.
It's a
as
magical
being,
place. No,
as
it's
just
a
being
magical
covered by
place.
it at some point, possibly.
Yeah.
Just a few inches below it. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good stuff.
I used to live in Miami, and that's low grade ground. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's really easy for that to be covered by water if we actually get a rise in waters like Miami.
So you are Florida Man.
I've lived there, but I know who the Florida Man is. Like I know
Right.
these people, and they're on the other side of Florida. They're on the inside. They're on the Ozark side,
Yeah.
the Jacksonville area.
They don't live on the beach.
They don't live in Dade County or on the Fort Wayne area. They live more inland and more towards the Gulf. So
There's a little Florida Man in all of us.
Yeah, if you get enough liquor in me.
Hey, those are red solo cups right there. Who knows?
right.
And that pinup that Todd did near the top, it's moonshine sanitizer. So there is alcohol, and this is a funny book. It literally quote unquote funny book, but
Right.
it's PG. It's PG.
Right.
13.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
PG-13.
Don't give it to your kids unless you're just
No.
a terrible parent or.
It's okay. 14 on up. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's no sexual type stuff in it, but it's sexy. There's some sexy stuff. Sexy cars. Sexy lady wrestlers.
That's always good. As the great American poet Sir Mix-a-Lot said, "Not sexist, just sexy."
He is a great American.
So
Great American poet.
where is the book in the process now?
Todd's drawing it.
No, I know like how far along.
Todd?
We're probably 20% in, maybe 15% in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So when do you expect it'll be finished, the book itself?
We're hoping we want to get this to you by Christmas. I'm committed to doing that, and it's just a matter of getting through some of the tricky pages and doing some things I've never done before. Some of the other stuff is a little easier, so we just gotta. I just have to sort of get on track and find a good rhythm. And of course, campaigning is really not the easiest time to do that. While you're doing one YouTube show after another.
No, it definitely isn't. That's why it's not bad to take a little break from social media.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
A break
Is that
from
what
social
you did,
media.
Brian?
What was that?
I said, is that what you did?
No. But that's what my friend Preston did, and he's getting
Okay.
like tons of work done. And so like whenever there's like new like Twitter drama, he's like oh, did you hear about this, that, the other thing? He's like, no. He's just blissfully unaware, and he's like, yeah, I don't have time for that crap. I'm like making art.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think there's a lot to that because there's so much concern especially for the first campaign.
Yeah.
That you're worried, are we gonna hit the goal? Could we do better? Are we doing this right? How many shows do we have to do? How many podcasts do we have to do to promote?
Yeah.
And literally, I think we're gonna hit every conceivable goal that we want, but we're just not hitting it fast enough. And if you don't hit it fast enough, everybody's like, "Oh man, how much time can I commit to this?" So yeah, I mean, I think taking a break from social media would probably do both the creators some good. I can't because I'm constantly, ripping on, the latest.
I'll be gone
tape
tomorrow.
drama. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going up in the mountains.
Oh, rock and
what are
roll,
you guys
Mike.
doing?
No cell connection.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Matt?
that's always a nice thing these days. You know what I mean? Getting away, being forced to get away from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like Drew was saying, like I was saying, like Simon was saying, right now it's this book would be doing much better. It's just a funky time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're gonna, if you take a little break and then you come back, maybe at the beginning of fall or something like that. I mean, I don't know, but you're gonna be doing much bigger numbers.
You got to remember, it's also a subculture that is not looked upon highly. So people don't realize we're laughing along with them. We're not making fun of them.
Right.
The whole Florida Man thing is always seen before Florida Man does something stupid.
Right.
And so Florida Man is like this badge of shame. But we're not exploiting the badge of shame. What we're doing is we found a real funny way to tell a story using this whole idea that Gary could be the quintessential person who did all of those things, no matter what they are. It's as if he did them all. So
right.
it's we're laughing along with him and
right.
not exploiting him or making him look like a dumbass or anything like that. It's more or less, hey, this is just a good way to tell a real funny story. This is the perfect, it has built-in hashtags, memes, and websites, and it markets itself really.
So you're saying it's not mean-spirited?
No,
not at all.
Right.
No, it's almost like a Talladega Nights. If you're a NASCAR fan, you loved it.
Right.
Think those
a
people
lot
are
funnier,
weird and silly. Yeah, and a lot funnier, of course.
You guys are gonna have to carry on without me.
He's out.
That's okay, man. Thanks for hanging out, Mike.
Thanks you very
for
much.
having me.
You got it, brother.
Guys.
Peace
Love
out,
you, bro.
Hey, Drew, I'm done with my quick sketch.
Oh, let's see it, Simon.
Let's see it. Mike is missing out.
Yeah, he sure is. Oh,
Oh,
whoa.
man, that's awesome,
Dude.
Look at that. Now, what's he up there looking at? What is he looking at in the tree?
A drone.
A drone watching, probably. It's your drone. You're documenting everything he's doing. So he's like, hey, how's it going?
That's awesome. Okay, yeah. So this is Todd looking for new shots.
And the crocodile smiling.
Oh,
that's great, man. That is great.
That is awesome.
If you post that on Twitter, tag Florida Man Comic. I think that's the.
Well, dude, I'm gonna use it to in my thread of promotion that I do of all my fan art and all the current going campaigns.
That's great.
That's
what he just whipped that up.
If we hit another stretch goal, maybe I'll reach out to you and we'll put it in as a pinup or some back matter in the book. If we extend the pages, that's great.
That would be awesome.
With Todd and Mike's approval. I might be speaking out of turn, but you got my vote right out of the gate.
If you guys want it, just reach out and I'll send you the high res.
You got it, Sim. That's great stuff.
Are you Simon? Is it Pontier or Pontier?
Poitier.
Yeah, it pronounce it like Poitier.
Poitier. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like the actress Sidney Poitier.
I'm familiar with you. I'm very familiar with you.
Yeah, Simon's great.
Simon. Yeah.
And he just whipped that up. Like while we were talking.
He's inspired. When you're inspired, nothing's stopping you.
When you hit that inspiration moment, you have an idea in your head and you just go, like I saw that crocodile, like him riding the crocodile. I'm like, what else could I do that could be fun? And I'm like, I thought of like Crocodile Dundee, all those, those people.
Right.
I'm like, come on, the classic shot of like him with the crocodile around his feet, just like smiling at him. And I'm like, oh, make him look up, like he's looking up at us.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that's
awesome.
That's fantastic. Inspired by Todd's cover.
Oh,
so,
do
you have a project right now, Simon, that you're campaigning for?
Right now, I'm just finishing fulfilling Blood Hunt.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm getting ready to launch this one here.
Okay.
This is going to be the trading card.
Yeah,
well, send. Be sure to reach out to me so we can, once the campaign's ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And
here's a sample from
signal boost that. Yeah, man, that looks great.
Nat the Merc. He's already folks. Definitely sign up for the mailing list.
And for a quickie, okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Look at the background.
Whoa.
We're done.
4 boosts. And that's what we've got here in the chat, plus me. No, I'm just kidding. We got 5 boosts. Oh, it's getting late. I can feel it.
Oh, man.
Now, Brian, so Kickstarter, I went ahead and backed it. So I saw
thanks,
that
brother.
said, okay, cool. So I'd like to see how that turns out for you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah,
Like I said,
absolutely.
it's something I wanted to do as an experiment for myself, but also for my peeps in CG. And
It, well, it's
you
been
know,
so long since I did backed anything on Kickstarter. I'm kind of interested to see what the engagement's like. I've done a
right?
ton of Indiegogo stuff, and I'm just, I get what's working and what isn't, but I'm interested to see how Kickstarter works.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
Kickstarter is, I mean, it's got like 5 to 10 times the traffic that Indiegogo does, just in
Hmm.
general.
Hmm.
Um, Most people don't go to Indiegogo for comics. I mean, that's kind of like the directly kind of a more centric like this community kind of thing. And then
Yeah,
there's like a little bit outside the community that does that.
yeah.
But Kickstarter. I mean, like as Brian's test proven, Kickstarter has a built-in marketing system. You know what I mean? And if you have something that they're interested in, that they'll go with it. Plus, it's easier to tell somebody to go to Kickstarter to back a book versus telling them to go to Indiegogo, because first of all, they probably never heard of Indiegogo.
yeah.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
And then
But
Kickstarter makes more sense for what they understand as far as crowdfunding goes.
but
So,
one of the biggest difference though for like the actual backer, it's a Kickstarter doesn't take the money right away.
right.
It,
Right.
it leaves it there until it's fulfilled, and then it takes it. So you might have a nice freaking big surprise at the end of the month.
Right.
Right. Like
Right.
a lot of those people that backed your
Well,
book don't have it on their
Indiegogo,
credit cards.
yeah. So
Oh, so
Indiegogo
really,
actually
it's
takes
a
the
higher
money.
risk for the creator.
Yeah,
Hmm.
much higher.
Hmm. Hmm.
Plus, they don't have an in-demand feature. So, like, if you but Indiegogo will let you take a fulfilled Kickstarter campaign and bring it over in demand to Indiegogo. So,
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. 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 I mean, this is all stuff that we learn as we're going along. And that's the thing too. It's like an internet thing, so it's constantly changing and
Sure.
morphing. Like the sweet spot for campaigns at one point it was like 5,000, and
Hmm.
then it was like 3,000, and and like it's always changing.
Hmm. Well, and you're right. That's the internet. They change their algorithms without asking,
Yep,
and just sort of the motion of people. People get distracted by whatever the latest craze is or whatever the craziest news is. And
absolutely.
we were really blessed early in our campaign when Todd was telling me to, hey man, why don't you post a little something on Reddit and we'll just kind of like it each other. And I'm sure you guys know what happened, but the thing got
Right.
banned, and
Yep.
I was kind of grousing about it. And of all people, you mentioned bounding into comics. I was kind of grousing to John Trent and on Facebook, and he's like, "Man, you want to talk about that?" And
hmm.
he turned it into a story and sent him some screenshots, and then Captain Frugal ran with it, and Society Reviews and RJ over at Critical Blast, and then of course the next thing you know, we got, gosh, almost $10,000 in a couple of days. Clownfish TV blew it up and really got us a lot of attention and gave us really what I think is the jump start that it needed to get
Right.
where we are. And I agree. Coronavirus has really impacted the economy. There's a few standouts that can consistently get big numbers, and they've got a huge platform and they're able to
Mhm.
campaign. But I couldn't turn Bleeding Fool into the Florida Man channel.
Right.
Right.
That just wouldn't be. I don't know. It just seems
It wouldn't be
Wouldn't
icky.
cool.
No, it wouldn't. It would be
it would
bleeding
it would
cool.
seem unethical. It would
Yeah,
seem.
exactly. And I get enough of that just trying to keep everything above board. But I do get out. I promote it. Todd's constantly promoting, and Mike is podcasting and YouTubing and all that stuff. So we're doing what we can. I think we've done respectably, and I think we'll do even better the next time. And I think we're gonna keep. I think we'll keep
Well,
this on demand at least until it's time to order books. I
That's a
mean,
good
why
right.
not?
yeah.
Excellent idea.
Yeah.
And then definitely consider over ordering and keep turn your in demand into just a store.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
take advantage of the fact that you
But
can
that's
print at a lower price for more books for.
I'm still selling copies of Hero the Cleansing through my in demand right now. You know what I mean?
Now,
They don't.
let me ask you this: are you doing floppy? Are you doing a premium spine? I mean, what's your?
All right. Well, with me, Hero of the Cleansing only came out in one way, and that is as a I'm trying to grab a copy of it here for you.
Of course.
As a graphic novel trade paperback, 72 page. Right. It has 3 variant covers now, but it's still only in that format. The now Rise of the Pirate King, which is the second book, I could not afford to, because I do it all up front. I don't campaign and then make the book off the campaign money. I have the book ready so that when the campaign's finished, it can fulfill, and then I order the books and then I fulfill them. And so since I'm doing it that way, I could only afford to do it in floppy format. So for Rise of the Pirate King, I decided that, I'm going to write them in chapters, make them 6 chapter stories, which, 24 page to 32 page chapters. And then I'll have, a final graphic novel of that story arc at the end. Yeah. So basically it will have the story. It will be in graphic novel format, reprinted and reprinted and reprinted. But then there's these collector floppies that I get for each chapter. So I'm able to do a campaign for each of these as well individually. And I get orders. And actually, in my campaign for chapter 1, I actually did both ways, where you could actually back one time, get all 6 chapters and the final graphic novel when they fulfill after each campaign. And then on the future campaigns that I do for chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, I'm going to also allow them to just, get this. And then obviously they can order the existing property that the existing product that exists. And of course I over order. So I have, more than I need of chapter 1 right now. So, and
that's savvy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good. Now, have you, and you're using the same printer for all of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We just about everybody is using Mix'em. They're the best. They're the best price point. And except Brian, he doesn't like them for some reason.
No, I haven't used them yet. I'm going to order some posters from them so I have an experience I can compare.
Yeah. Who are you using, Brian?
I'm using Greco.
Greco. Okay.
With spelled with a K. And they're great. They very easy to get on the phone. Very easy to get on email. I mean, they answer emails really quick, and that's the thing. I think with any printer, you want easy access to them. So if you have an issue or a last minute change or something like that, that you don't have a problem reaching them or hearing back from them.
They're U.S., aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We definitely want to print in the U.S., and we have been. Mix'em is who we're looking at. We talked about Print
That's who
Ninja,
most people use.
But of course, they're out of the country, and it comes over on a slow boat, and who knows when it would get here. So we want to keep it in the good old USA if we can.
Amen.
Keep our fellow brethren, our fellow nationalist citizens working.
You will find that Mix'em is going to deliver high quality stuff. I have gone two
Why
prints.
am I feeling left out all of a sudden?
Oh no, you shouldn't
be. Because you just wish that you were in real America.
Because you're up in Kanakistan. That's why.
Oh, now I had a writer tell me about a great Canadian company. I'm trying to remember. It was Blake Northcutt told me about who she used up there, and they had comparable prices to Mix'em. I was ready to go with them, and then some shipping costs changed all of a sudden when oil prices shifted or whatever. And I just said, no, I think it's just better for our brand to be printed in the USA. I can't remember who that was that she said. I could figure it out and tell you guys later. But who are you using for your print, Simon?
I had 2 plans. I had a plan if I needed to print more than 1,000 print, I was going with Transcontinental.
Mm-hmm.
And when my lower prints, I have a really, really cool printer that's exactly like Mix'em, right? And it's called Caius. Caius Printing. Yeah.
That sounds kind of familiar. What's how do you spell that?
Cauis. No, C. Don't know.
KYUSS?
KYUSA?
I just want to make sure.
KYUSA. That sounds like an advertisement for something.
Yeah, that sounds filthy. Sounds like something that we might find in Florida, man. Actually.
Todd's probably
Okay, let's
writing
go.
me a
It's
book right now.
CAIUS. There you go.
There you go.
I inverted the I and the U.
Okay.
That's why I went like, nope.
What we're all hoping for is that Sony is eventually going to figure out how we can handle foreign orders, because we hate having to charge people $23-$25 shipping, right?
Yeah.
And so if we can work with printers in other countries, if we work, like for instance, if you could find somebody in Central Europe or somewhere in Asia where we can just send the orders and they could fulfill from there.
That can be done, but the problem that most people ran into when they did that is because you become that everything is spread around and you don't get that discount for for volume, right? So that's why me and my friend Beacon we're trying something, right? And for everything that's going to be U.S. and Canada, we're going to try at 15, right? But the idea is to do a bulk shipment express, so that goes like it's a big shot, one shot, but after that you only have to pay another over there, so it reduces the expense and also the time because it's prioritized. So right now during the corona, that was my way around the fact that if I mail a book to one of you guys in the US, it takes 2 months and a half to get there, right? If I do this, well, there's big chances right now you'll get your book within the next 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah. You see, that's the thing is we're all still figuring this stuff out and trying to find better ways of doing things. But there's enough of us and enough of really smart people that are in this group that we're going to figure it out eventually. Or somebody's going to find the answer. One thing that go ahead, Simon.
That's why I tell people, like, when you're starting like your company, because that's what it is. Technically, when you're doing a book, you should register yourself as a number company at least, like a self-employed guy.
Yeah.
Like that, you can open yourself a business account with one of those UPS things or a FedEx, and that's when you can have some of those deals.
Well, and you're onto something. I've left something in our private chat that I want the guys to see that are shipping overseas that may be helpful, at least in some discounting for overseas shipping that I'm exploring. I haven't experienced it yet, but after a lot of research, because it's the same complaint for everybody. We've got books to ship to everywhere from Sweden to Switzerland to Mexico to Spain, you name it, Japan.
Today I had a big surprise. Shipping one book to one place cost me $56 instead of
that hurts. That hurts.
I haven't gone that high. I haven't found one that's that high. The biggest hit I've had is $27.
It was 56 today, and I went.
Oh, that's brutal, dude.
You don't want to charge that. You don't want to charge that. You'd rather just eat it. You know what I mean? You don't want to charge that to a customer that wants the book overseas. No. So look into this pirate ship thing and see if that's something that's. Because what they're doing is they're not. I think they're doing it a little differently, which is what we need is some ingenuity.
Absolutely.
The point of what I was saying before is because the thing is when you open a business account with one of those shipping companies, right? Mm-hmm. They ask you how many shipments you plan on doing a month or something like that, and they technically base on it. And once you've proven yourself that at least do a few deliveries, then they start offering you like 40 to 50% for a certain amount a month between international.
And here's the thing, Chris.
Usually those discounts are on a lot, though. That's you gotta be doing a shitload.
If you're not doing express, right? You're doing like the route, right? The ground route. It goes halfway. And me, I'm using the plane for this one, but further on, it could take like a week or two. Like they say a week, max, to get a shipment just by land. So it's half the price. So,
well, I mean, I did my research on shipping. I'm pretty hardcore, and for the most part, I found that using stamps.com, with media mail, has been the most effective cost-wise that I could find.
For you guys, because stamp don't work for anybody else but you guys, and we don't.
Because you're not in real America though.
But you're not just doing business with your America.
Yeah.
Right.
No. The first the out of the country stuff is there. The solution would be nice because the right now the best way to do out of the country obviously is in an envelope, like I ship. All my stuff. I do them in these
Yeah, maybe
in
it's
the
because I'm stubborn. I'm
flats.
trying to keep it in
The,
Gemini.
the, yeah, the flats saves about $8 over Gemini mailers just out of the style of packaging.
Yeah,
Um,
you wrap them like crazy with cardboard and stuff. Yeah, it's. I'm not saying it's not good, dude. That's not what I'm saying.
What are you doing, Drew? Are you just bag boarding them and then slipping them in there and hoping for the best?
what I do is I developed a method on the first book because I started shipping it and then I got a lot of feedback and I saw how the packages were arriving and the weather and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So I bag and board floppies. I don't bag and board trade paperbacks, but I bag and board floppies,
Yeah.
and then I will wrap them in
Bubble.
bubble wrap, which
Yeah.
I have quite a bit of. I get it at Walmart. You know what I mean? At the $16 for the 200 roll, it's a pretty decent price.
Yeah.
It's better than online pricing. And then I wrap it, with bubble wrap, and then I tape the bubble wrap on the ends to a 11 by 17, not 11 by an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardboard. Right, that's a thin piece of cardboard, and then I tape another piece of cardboard to the other side of that, so it's sandwiched in between the two pieces of cardboard. And then at that point, it's pretty much weather protected.
Yeah.
Because you would actually, even if it fell in a puddle, it would
Yep.
take a long time for that water to seep into
Yep.
that bag. And then I after taping the cardboard like that, I stuff it in the envelope, and then I ship it out. And if I have to put things like my trading cards when I do them in sets of 9, you know what I mean? I put them in these, and this is why I don't do Gemini mailers, is because these don't fit in a Gemini mailer. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so and these are like perfect if they're gonna have 9 cards. You know what I mean? This is the perfect way to do them because you're all on one page and everybody's all, yeah, this is excellent. So
Captain Love fans, listen to all the handling this guy's doing for your books
Oh,
and
yeah,
your
man.
stuff. I mean, he's not charging for that. This is his passion.
Well, that's actually
Yes.
I put all my on Captain Love on the Chapter 1 campaign. Everything is added into the price. So
Good.
basically, all the shipping and everything is all factored into it. So in all reality, people might look at it and think that I'm charging $15 for a floppy, but I'm charging $15 for the floppy bagged and board, all the extras, and the extreme shipping process that I go through to get it to you. And it's like, I mean, it is no joke. I mean, I actually make sure that every book is protected so that it gets. It's just that I get disappointed when I see what happens to books in the mail because the post office is just not respectful of packaging at all.
They
Even
really
if you
aren't.
say do not bend, they don't care.
Yeah.
No, I've gotten some
Amazon's the
mangled
worst.
books. I've gotten some mangled books, and I'm not going to name names because it's not these people's fault. It was their first campaign.
Yeah.
They didn't know what they were doing, and then sometimes you can pack a book as carefully as you like, and books, Drew's books come very well protected. But I've had customers contact me and tell me, yeah, I received an empty Gemini mailer.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Talk about tickling somebody's ass with a feather. Oh, I got comics.
Are
No,
you an
don't.
Up the Academy fan too? Wow.
Well, and then say if somebody
That's
somebody
a
lives in
reference right there.
say if somebody lives in an apartment complex where they all share the mail boxes at the bottom, and the mailboxes aren't that big. Sometimes the guy in the post office will fold these. Just so you know, postal workers are trained not to fold flats. These are flats. These are considered to be used for things that are not foldable. These are supposed to be stiff and I mean obviously they're flexible.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be folded. They're designed for documents that are not to be folded. They're designed for photographs. They're designed for media
to stay flat.
To stay flat.
Yeah.
And the post office they are trained to not do that, but some of them still don't care. They're going to stick it in your mailbox instead of walk it to your porch, which is what they're supposed to do.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys ever? I mean, I'm just over 50 years old, and I subscribed to Marvel Comics back.
Oh,
when I was a
dude.
Did you? You know what they shipped it in? It
Yep.
was just a paper brown paper sleeve. I mean,
Yes.
the whole thing. The ends could get wet. You name it, and they just rolled it up and shoved it in the mailbox.
Oh man, those issues! I stopped subscribing because those would turn up toe up.
Yep. I didn't get them in sleeves. I got mine in little like junk paper bags that were folded over and a sticker held them closed.
Yikes. When I first learned that there were direct market shops, I was like, are you serious? What? What a treat. It was, for me, it was the spinner rack or the brown paper bag in the mailbox.
Yep.
And now, I mean, we're so spoiled. Listen to us, bubble wrap and extra tape and
Gemini mailers.
I think right now that's the only thing that I'm gonna change is like I relied on the fact that I use like those resealable. Like I like resealable like bags and boards because they're just clear when they're closed. They look like a casing and they're just
nice.
tighter.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yep.
And it fits very perfectly in a Gemini, right? But after packing all of them and moving them, I'm like, next time I'll buy some bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap and flats.
At least when you put just one book.
Yeah. Well,
two books don't move.
Here's the thing. Even 2 books don't move, I guess. But the thing is like the thing about bubble wrap, right? And I mean, bag and board is nice. You know what I mean? And that's all that will protect it from the elements also. But a bubble wrap will protect it from being stepped on.
Right.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to think is the cardboard and the bubble wrap that is not there to like necessarily protect it from the bubble wrap does protect it from the elements the way I seal it, but it's designed to be protected from being stepped on because these things get tossed into a truck and they just walk across all of this stuff.
Yeah, that's the same reason why the Gemini mailers, the flash ones, are designed that way too, with the extra compartment in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, but a Gemini mailer will fall apart in moisture also. So
right, and also you have to pack your book so that it doesn't move around. And I learned this from a backer who sent me a picture. Like, yeah, this is how I got my book, and I was grateful to them for sending me the picture and everything, letting me know first of all that they had a problem, because that's the other thing too, is customer service is one-on-one. So if somebody has a problem with an order, their book doesn't arrive in pristine condition, I send them a new one, and make the situation okay. Well, like back when we were kids, and we'd get like our Marvel comics in the mail, and they'd arrive all jacked up. There wasn't nothing you could do.
No.
You just had a jacked up comic.
Yeah, it was a 25-cent or 50-cent book, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And you got it at a discount too, which was the great thing about it.
Yep.
I think that's good, Drew. That's good information. I hope that other independent comic publishers like yourself are listening and paying attention to this, because you care. You want people to be happy with what they got. I mean, I know Todd has repeated ad infinitum that we want the customer to love what they got, and nothing upsets you more than you've already invested what's higher than you typically would pay for a book. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then you get it and the corner's bent up or something's jacked up about it or something. Yep. I mean, it just puts a really bad taste. And even if, like what you did, Brian, and I don't ask for a fix just because, whatever. Right?
Neither do I.
I know. But if somebody does, they're doing it, and you've really got to shine then. Really got to shine. And then you've got a permanent fan. From then on out, even if the book sucks, they're going to love the way you dealt
Absolutely.
with it.
Absolutely. Like, I got contacted by somebody that's like, I've been waiting for my book for, like 4 months or something like that. This is like for my previous campaign. And I realized like, oh crap, like somehow like something went wrong. Like either they didn't get their book or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And so I threw in some extra stuff. I had some like floppies left over from a convention. So I was like, here's the book that you ordered. And, just to make amends for the long wait, here's like a little something extra.
That's nice.
And that's, but I mean, that's, because we're not just reflecting on ourselves, we're reflecting on our fellow indie creators too, right? Getting comic books in the mail is fun. It really is.
It is, yeah. I agree.
Because I'm not just a creator; I'm a backer. I've backed a ton of books because there's so many great books out there, and getting a book in the mail is awesome. If you get it and it's all fucked up, it's like wah wah wah. Nobody
Yeah, and
wants
then you
that.
think twice about doing it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why every indie creator that doesn't fulfill is like not just betraying the people that backed them, they're also betraying their fellow indie creators
Hey,
too.
don't get me started on B. Claymore and Richard Pace. We can
Uh
go all
oh.
night. Oh.
Uh oh.
Nah,
Oh
I don't want
man.
to talk.
No, it's all good. You don't have to go there, brother. But here's the thing too, Chris. You've built up such a great amount of positive vibes. You built up a tremendous amount of goodwill in the community. So that community is more than open to helping you out with anything that you need with this book or with any project. We're always we're not gatekeepers, we're gate openers. And
Yeah, that's good. I like that, Brian.
whenever we get seriously, that's one of the things I love about this community, because it's all a bunch of people that are trying to help each other, but also there's somebody new that comes in the door. We're like, hey, let's get you on a show, and then we get you running the circuit, doing all the different streams, and we can give them advice and everything. This is what you want to do. This is what you really don't want to do.
Yeah.
And when you see those campaigns succeed, it's oh man, it's just a beautiful feeling, man.
Yeah, it's like that, helping that person. It's like you feel invested in them, and that's what I like about this community too. I haven't really been like, hey, I've featured. I guess I could go back and send a message to all 300 indie creators that we've featured and say, hey man, push my book. I pushed your book, and just kind of be a dick about it, but. I love this. I love this whole scene. So the fact that I've sort of paid it forward already is kind of a nice feeling to know that maybe there's a few people that have backed it just to say, hey, I like Bleeding Full. I like Chris. And hey, it looks good. I'm going to do it. And there might be some that don't think it looks good.
There's a whole nother level to it too, though. I mean, you got to think about it. Like, okay, so like the mainstream industry has all this like attitude, and they're all like, they have like, we're so great because we're like mainstream.
Yeah, I got the swagger.
Even though they're basically rehashing, existing like IPs that have been written by 20 or 30 other people ahead of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they go on and they act like they're the greatest thing in the cat's meow because they have such fulfillment. What we have here is something that is better than that in a way, because we actually have a large community of independent creators. You know what I mean? A large community. I mean, there's just in the last year. I've only been part of the community for a year. You know what I mean? I've only been around for a year.
Same here.
So just in the last year, I have watched it like grow to like 5 times its size. Easy.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
It is.
And so you think about this, is like all these people who thought that they could never write a book because of all the mainstream gatekeepers. You know what I mean? All these guys saying, well, you know what, send us your submission and we'll look at it. We'll examine your idea and we'll decide if we want to let you write it for us. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then we might like your idea and not have you write it, and then maybe kind of like add it, and maybe Superman do that or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's basically what people have been facing. It's like, okay, I'm submitting my idea to you, and you know what I mean, and I'm basically dropping my pants and grabbing my ankles and saying, please show me some love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they can violate you heavily and say, go, have a nice day. You know what I mean? And it's like, that was never like a desirable thing to me. And then you think about the business side of it. Okay, well, you got to like, okay, they got to make their money and they got to distribute. And then the LCS has got to make their money. Yeah. And so like, there's going to be nothing left for you after all of that goes through. So like all of that did not seem very desirable for me. You know what I mean? So I was always on this on the mindset. Like after talking to, I have some friends that have done stuff through Image and that kind of stuff, and they none of everybody was all like, "No, you don't want to do this. You know what I mean? You don't want to go to these people." You know what I mean? It's like if you can do it, if you, with crowdfunding nowadays, it is everybody was like directing me to that before I even found the community. So I was like, okay, let's check this out. Let's find these distribution methods, that kind of stuff. Let's figure it out. And with even with a smaller audience, even with like under 1,000 copies being sold, we're making more off of our IPs than most of the actual people out there writing and producing comics at the creation level. You know what I
Think
mean?
about this, Drew. I love what you're saying, and let's think about it because earlier Brian mentioned that he sold more than another creator.
Max
who shall remain
Versace.
unnamed. Anyhow, yeah, right. So, how many of the issues of her book were just ordered because that shop owner thought, "Oh, I'm going to stock 4 or 5 here," and guess how many of those are still on the stock, right?
Exactly.
But
or sold for 50 cents.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But here in this crowd fund, the money is coming directly from the consumer, and they're willing to pay the premium to get it from you, your stuff, right? So it's not, when Marvel thought they were sent up the trial balloon for Safe Space and Snowflake, their new warriors, the new warriors. You notice that disappeared. You notice that's nobody's talking about it anymore.
It sure did.
But if that had hit, believe me, and you guys know this, it would be a big thing right now. They would be shoving it down our throats.
Absolutely.
And it's such a shame to me. I've loved the comics medium for years. I once thought of myself as a decent illustrator, and being part of Bleeding Fool and following the comics news, really, even before I launched the Internet Journal. Man, it's so sad seeing what's happened to these once great companies that had these legacy characters that now they're willing just to socially experiment with identity politics. And it's like they already kind of not crowdsourced, but what's the word when you've already all sat around and figured out what your responses are going to be? So like anytime the complaints come in, it's like they've all jokingly prepared. Oh, well, Thor's still Thor. This is just Jane being Thor, or whatever.
Right.
Whatever they've not crowdsourced, but they've
whatever, like focus groups or whatever.
Focus group. Thank you.
Tank.
Yeah.
All that. So they've already prepared for. They know they're going to piss people off, and I don't know what they were preparing for Safe Space and Snowflake, but I think that was just a bridge too far for most comics.
I thought it was a troll.
So I thought that was a troll too. But as far as what's going on is you got to think of these companies, where they exist, what their big goals are, Portland. Who runs them, who owns them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, say this, and it's not 100% true, but it is partially true. Is that these companies that like DC and Marvel are more or less using their properties to try and feel out the market. But at the same time, they're also trying to jimmy the jocks of the people who make the decisions in the film industry. This is very important, because the people that make the decisions in the film industry for years have got put there because they didn't have families. You know what I mean? Because they were like, okay, well, like you got to think corporate here. Just for a moment, let's go corporate
sharks.
talk. Yeah. Well, no, it's like, so like if you are, but there was a time where that both New York and LA were dominated by like what you would consider the Jewish business mind, right? And not everybody was Jewish. It wasn't so stereotypical, but there was a hardcore, heavy Jewish controlled market. And the reason why is because of the you could say it's racial or whatever, the mentality of how Jewish people were with their money. It seems crazy, but and then also because a lot of them were in control, right? They would hire other people who were, again, it was not tribal, but they were working with, we're going to share with our own, you know what I mean, first. And that it's horrible, but that's how LA was. That's how Hollywood was. That's how New York broadcasting was. You would find that, and it's still today. If you go through and you look down the list of actors' names, you look down the list of producers' names, you look down there. Still today, it's still heavily dominated with the family control kind of element from that legacy. But it has changed over the years. Over the years, people have looked at, okay, these jobs are grueling. Running these things are horrible, horrible things. You can't do this and have a family. You know what I mean? You just can't, not very well. So what they do is they have people who don't have families, right? Who have made life choices to not have families because of their sexual preference in a lot of cases. They don't have a family because of this. They may have a spouse or somebody that they live with or somebody they've married, but they don't, maybe they adopt children down the line, but for the most part, big picture, they don't have families. They can work all day long and they can work their ass off. And these people have climbed the ladder because they didn't have that element. And so over years and years and years of people without any kind of family ties climbing the ladder, then you have a different kind of mindset in control, in CEO positions and high decision-making positions. And now those people are the ones that are currently being catered to because they don't see the world black and white. They see the world the way they want to make it because they don't fit into the nuclear perception.
Drew, fascinating theories. Are we reading Crazy Days and Nights Blind Items next? I mean, this is it's intense.
It's just a breakdown of of the social growth of the. And it's not 100% that way. You know what I mean? It's obviously but the dominant growth of the media has been that pattern. It is forced by the corporate control aspect where the what's going to make the best decision for the business, for the bottom line, right, for the dollar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the same reason why like women always complain about equality, and you hear a lot of women complain about equality. A lot of corporations don't want to hire a woman that wants a family. If they know if a woman's a lesbian and and they feel as though she's not interested in having a family, she is going to skyrocket in a corporate structure. If they feel she wants to have a family and kids, they're going to hold back on promoting her because because they don't want to have to deal with that. You know what I mean? That is like, you can say that's whatever, but the same thing goes with men. If men want to if they're more focused on having a family and a career and then having children and all that kind of stuff, and that appears to be more important than their job, right? Then they're not going to grow as fast. But if they feel if the men seem like what's more important is their job over everything else, they're going to accelerate in their careers. That's just sociology.
And
Yeah.
the economics of pedowood. I mean, Corey Feldman warned me off that place. I like my family too much to go to work in Hollywood. Even though if we could sell Florida Man to Netflix, I guess we would just travel out there briefly and stop by and look at the riots in Portland on our way out or something. Say hi to Brian Michael Bendis. I think that's where most of these comic creators live, is Portland. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. You understand.
It used to be.
Yeah,
part of it is.
What's left of it?
Speaking of
sometimes
women
you just
in
have
business,
to explain the birds of the bees of Hollywood to your kid. How he
there
actually.
You go.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Here's the thing. You have to understand that that's another one of those things that agenda-driven politics is being forced into our media.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the people who are making the decisions now,
that's how they think.
Well, those are who they are.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, well, we're tired of not being represented. You know what I mean? They're saying, you know what? So now we're going to force ourselves into your media, even though most of the people that watch media are,
normal.
Well, no, not just normal. They're like most. I mean, seriously, the Midwest is mostly conservative Christian. You know what I mean? And the Midwest is, it's not the mass of the population, because the population does, go to the edges. It does go to the coasts.
Sure.
But let me just tell you, the people that are heavily on the coasts aren't necessarily heavily watching TV.
They're creating it. It's the people. It's the godless identity politics people creating entertainment for the people who love Jesus and watch TV and want the nuclear family. It's really a crazy dichotomy.
It's creating the outrage. It really creates an
well,
outrage.
here's the thing.
Oh,
here's the
goodness.
thing
Go
about
ahead, Brian.
here's the
When
thing
you-
about the SJ. Just give me. Go ahead, Sim. Go ahead.
It's just a short point. It's just the fact,
Yeah.
like when you get into working into advertisement, you know,
Oof.
with the first job I got in there, and the first time they tell you one thing, the main rule of advertisement, you have to treat everybody and everything like it's a 4 to 5-year-old person. You don't talk to nobody. If you want to sell, you do a commercial. Everything has to be talking. If you were from the kindergarten,
Right.
And I'm like, oh, holy shit, that's not good.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, there's
but
no
but like
depth.
the SJWification of comics has always been, and you can see it, you know, like from where it started. It was when the Avengers movie came out, right? And that was like such a huge blockbuster.
It happened before
No.
in comics.
Yeah. No, I mean, just let me finish my point here. What I'm saying is they were like, okay, we need to take over the Marvel movies, but we can't do that. So what do? We'll take over comics and we'll make those SJW, and then eventually that will work its way into the movies. And guess what? It is.
Yeah, I don't think it even was that well thought out. I
think
say,
it was.
I would say that that they basically said let's dump trial balloons in the books to see what works and what won't. Let's change out these characters in the books because we're getting complaints for what we're trying to do over here. So let's take this character that's not making them as much money. Okay, this is before the movies. Okay,
I agree. I have a tendency of agreeing with Brian on that one, because when you want to take down a building, you go at the base, right?
The foundation.
That's true.
The foundation of comics, right? The foundation of anything super. It's comics. Hold on.
What I'm saying before you disagree with me.
But when you get to that.
Never mind. Don't listen to me.
Drew, you're breaking up a little bit. You're breaking up a little bit, Drew. I don't know if it's your connection or what, but that might be why you're getting interrupted.
All right. So what I was trying to say is basically the industry before the Marvel movies were a thing, okay, was already doing this. All right. They did this with Captain Marvel a long time ago. You know what I mean? This is something that they've done. You know, it's just that when the movies start to get popular, right, they realized that they had what you might say a tiger by the tail, right? And then they were like, okay, how do we inject the stuff that we're doing here in comics into the movies, right? And then they try to sneak it in a little at a time with the Avengers movies and that kind of stuff, but then they really just tried to slam it down our throats with Captain Marvel. Yeah. And they thought they were going to be able to do it because they felt like they succeeded with it in Star Wars. Yeah. Okay.
Succeeded.
We will agree to disagree.
They felt like they succeeded with it.
To finish my reasoning, when you attack the base, right? The idea was you go and change the characters at the base. So when people go watch the movies, like especially the ones that were big hits, the one everybody loved, when you would go back to the comics, the characters would not be there.
Yes.
It would be something else that would be totally different. So that would also kill the momentum.
Yep.
And force the Hollywood people to bring their characters to the movieverse.
There it is. It is right there.
That's why I'm saying, like,
I hear what you're saying, except that a lot of those changes were made before the movies were out. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of those characters that were changed up.
Not really.
I think it's a hybrid. I think you're both a little bit right about how it's working, because I don't think it's a hive mind of things going on. Because I think I agree with Drew that there's already a culture at work, at the comics, in the movies, and so on, that are totally like, yeah, let's make Captain Marvel. She can be the toughest hero of all. Those comic freaks will love it. And of course they won't, because we already don't love what they're trying to force down our throats in the comics. You guys need some synergy. But the problem is when they get that synergy to try to have that strategy, they're all still wrong, because that's not what middle America wants. And you knew that if you saw the deleted scene from Captain Marvel, where she was straight up
The
Arnold
Terminator bit.
Schwarzenegger from Terminator.
Yeah.
She was a villain.
A
She was
villain.
an absolute villain.
Yeah.
And they didn't even get that, right? So and there were actually all those Captain Marvel core Twitter fake robot accounts that never tweeted about anything but Captain Marvel were immediately trying to defend that. And man, we saw all the Rotten Tomatoes shenanigans and whatnot. Guys, listen, I've had a blast talking. I've got to sign out, but I do want to mention one thing. Later this week, did anybody here read the Whisper Network thing that?
Yes. When is the second part of that coming out, man?
Part 2, we're looking at. I've just got to get a couple more things cleared. I mean, this thing is dense. It's almost too much, but it's really kind of 2 parts kind of together this time. And one of them, I mean, we're talking illegal activity. It's happened. It was reported. It got censored. It was erased from the internet, that kind of stuff.
Tortious interference out the ass.
Well beyond that. I'm talking felony, boys. So, and we're talking serious felony, flee the country type stuff.
Oh, no way.
So, yeah. So it's coming. It's coming in a couple of days. And you guys, maybe we can chat about it next week or something too.
Actually, I would love it. I would love it if you would come on to talk about that specifically.
Seriously.
We'll dedicate a whole show to it. Also, we looks like we raised about $100 for you tonight. So
that's awesome. Keep going. Keep it going, man. I just had fun. I love it when we get a few backers on these things, but it's really nice to make these connections. And these videos get watched later. They don't have to be here live, but what's fun is a bunch of the people that were in the chat, I noticed their names. I mean, they're all backers already. They're just coming in to your fan club. If you're an independent rocking band or any kind of band and you're indie, it's cool to see your people out in the audience, but they've already bought the T-shirt. You know what I mean?
Well, we also broadcast on Facebook, and
cool.
and that tends to propagate for the whole week.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, and even if it's just branding awareness, it's effective. So.
Yeah, I think so too. Listen, I really appreciate it. And as far as when the article drops, it's supposed to drop right now. We're looking at Thursday. And I may be available Thursday night. I may not. And as a matter of fact, if I'm not available Thursday, I won't be available till Saturday evening.
Okay.
So
here's the thing.
Not get legs. Last time it got legs. This one might not. It might be too much.
It will.
If you're available on Thursday, hit me up. We'll make a special episode for you. Otherwise, consider coming back next Tuesday.
Yeah, I would love to, and we can chat about it then, because there's, even with what I have for this installment, there's more to come. It is unbelievable how much just viciousness, venom has been going on. And so what we're going to do in this installment is we're going to take you back to the past and show you this media censorship of the felony and what happened. And I had to get confirmation from the person that it happened against. And it's a legend, by the way. Another, Mike Barron is a legend. This person's a legend.
Oh,
and then we go back inside the Whisper Network, a secret group, to show you who their next target is. And we're probably saving this person's butt by telling you who the next target is. Matter of fact, he doesn't even like me or Comicsgate or any of us. But we're about to pull his ass on fire. That's fine.
That's okay.
I just want to stop these villains. If you don't believe that what we're doing is the right thing, hey, did Peter Parker stop saving people because the cops thought he was a villain? Of course not. So we'll be the heroes. We'll spread the love. You can label us whatever you want, but we are going to stop these villains, or we're at least going to make them get back in the shadows.
You're doing important work, man. You're doing important work because you're exposing something that's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fucking conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy. And man, when you see, we actually say, look, here's the story. Here's where it was published and was unpublished. Okay. And here, go to all these sites and look for the same story. It ain't there, people. And this is a big story. If the genders were reversed, it would be the biggest story of the news cycle for the whole year. It's crazy. And I didn't even know about it. So Penny brought this to me, and I was like, man, that's a serious freaking charge. Are you sure? And so bam, 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 the screenshots. And then I actually said, you know what? I got to go a step further and talk to this legend that you're saying said these things. And I did, and I got the confirmation. This person's a fan of Bleeding Fool 2, which is great. He hadn't been talked about in a long time, but we're going to talk about him this week, and he gave me permission to. So it should be fun. And you'll need a few minutes to go through it. It's dense, and I encourage everybody to click the links so that you see that what we're saying is real. Don't just take Penny's word for it. I certainly don't. I comb through all of it to make sure, because there's a lot of people out there that would love to cut my head off for publishing that last one.
Oh God! No. And dude, we have been make no mistake. We have been talking about like when is that the second part of that dropping?
It's coming. It's coming. So I mean, it's ready. I'm just trying to tighten up just I want the article to flow and have some images every now and then to break up stuff. So that's there. There's always misspellings. I tell Todd I'm his editor, and of course he's always pointing out the next misspelling that I did. So I'm garbage tier media, but we've got something good here. Please back Florida Man. Please support Todd and Mike. That's important to me, and I'd love to come on next week and chat about it again.
Fantastic.
Yeah. If you can't make Thursday, then try and count on Tuesday. And if you can make Thursday, give me a heads up, and I will bring on some voices. I'll gather some voices, and we'll make a spectacle of it.
We'll comb through it. I love spectacles. Okay, guys, I had fun.
Right before you leave, could I just mention a little comment from the chat
Absolutely.
Because it is worth sharing? Hexalon Comics says, I heard Marvel added 2 more new characters for us to love. They're called Safe Word and Ball Gag.
5 more years, that's coming, I'm sure.
Thanks so much for coming on, Chris, man.
Yeah,
and thanks for what you're doing for this community, and just thank you.
Hey, you know what? There's another one more thing we got to thank you for. Yeah. We got to thank you for pushing Mike Barron and to do this Florida Man as a comic.
Yes.
Man, it's all Todd. Todd's the one that was.
Todd, you're the one that pushed him?
Hail, Todd!
Todd is a huge fan of Mike. I mean, and has been. Todd, let me sign off and let Todd give you his talk about Mike, because Todd's been a fan from the beginning, and he needs to tell you guys about it. But I appreciate you guys being so kind, and I'll talk to you guys in a few days.
All right,
talk to you soon, Chris.
Later.
Peace
Check
out.
that private chat for those links, guys.
You got definitely. It, man.
All right, so you've been put on the spot, Todd. We can't hear you. Are you muted?
That's why he hasn't been talking.
I was a little bit quirky and sort of got into independent comics. I got to know my LCS guy, and he kind of steered me around. And I come from a rich area of independent comics. The fanzines that were coming out of this area, the Northampton area, with guys like Bernie Wrightson and the Turtles. The Turtles came out of Northampton, by the way. I'm pointing up to where Northampton is. That's silly. But this was a rich area. The Von Bodie. I don't know if you guys know who Von Bodie is.
Yeah.
So this was the area I come from, and we had guys. When I got to be in my teens, whatever, you had Michael Zulli, who was doing Puma Blues. And Bill Sienkiewicz was from, they all lived in Fairfield. All the Marvel guys and DC guys lived in Fairfield, Connecticut, because they would take the train in. Mm-hmm. It's too expensive to live in Manhattan for most of them. But they would take the train in and go in when they needed to. So a lot of the artists lived all in Connecticut. So very rich area for certainly independent comics. We had a lot of things that, are akin to this area. So I was kind of steered in certain directions and found my love, because you eventually get to this sort of repetitiveness, right? Spider-Man has fought Green Goblin 100 times, and there's a repetitive in nature to those periodical comics from Marvel and DC. Doesn't mean I don't like them. Doesn't mean I don't read them, or there are artists who I'm blown away by, and I gotta get their stuff.
How many times is Robin gonna die? Right.
Or how many Robins is there?
Right. Exactly.
Or how many Spider-Mans are there, or Spider people? Right. We got Spider-Gwen, Spider this, Spider that. So anyway, I really fell in love with Nexus. Nexus was one of those books, and that art was kind of like, it was like a hybrid of animation and good cartoon.
Yeah.
But the faces, the faces were kind of had a Renaissance quality to them. They were,
Right.
like the eyes were always perfect. So I saw this sort of thing, and I always gravitated towards particular type of artists that to me transcended certain. Granted, this is as simple as simple as more. Less is more approach. Steve Root is a less is more,
Yeah.
and you might throw him on one end of the spectrum, but you might throw someone like Barry Windsor Smith on the other end.
Right.
But now, obviously, I always look at art as sort of this wire where a bunch of ladders hang from, and over here you got Jeff Smith, and over here you got Travis Charest. You got cartoony, and then you got hyper realistic, that the quality of tones create this illusion that's almost real sometimes. So I was always gravitating towards particular artists that I thought, these guys are better than that guy or this guy and this guy. There's something about them, and you look at Barry Windsor Smith and you see this sort of Michelangelo of comics. I mean, that's what I saw. I saw the drawings that you would see in Michelangelo. I was seeing that out of his work, especially, if I know I didn't have the Conan stuff, right? Or I didn't buy it until later in my life. But man, when you're reading along and you got guys like Bob McLeod and Bob Layton, all great quality guys, John Burns, and then all of a sudden you get this fill-in issue for New Mutants, and it's this Barry Windsor Smith guy, and you're like, this is so freaking different and so good.
Yeah.
So I was blown away by this. And Mike, as far as a writer goes, was that kind of guy who just blew me away. Like, I can't think of anything great. I don't have everything. I didn't get Atari Force or some of these other things. But I don't think I've ever read anything by Mike Baron that wasn't good.
Yeah.
And that's how I thought of him, as this just solid, consistent guy that wasn't repeating somebody else, and certainly wasn't repeating himself. So I kind of fell in love with Nexus, and Badger was a little bizarre and kind of out of my league a little bit. I don't have a lot of Badgers, but I had every single Nexus that ever was.
Yeah.
Because I was just that kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it blew me away too. What drew me in, of course, was that Steve Root art, because it didn't look like anybody else. And it was just such an incredible look. And then, of course, what is it that keeps you coming back? It's the writing. It's the story. It's the characters. And, Nexus blew me away too, man.
I was
Nexus
always
is my favorite too.
I was always like that, as far as seeing somebody a little different. Granted, right? The iconic sort of looks in your head for a long time were people like Alan Davis. Every X-Men character, the iconic face in your head was his drawing of them people. Right. Or maybe even Byrne in some cases.
Oh yeah.
So when you look in your head, you go, I see Wolverine, I see Aurora, I see
Byrne and Austin. Yeah. The Team Supreme.
There was always these guys that were so different, like Dave Stevens. Man, I went to Worcester, and then we had a huge store there. Like, I had a good store, but there was this like marquee, almost like Midtown Comics store. It was called That's Entertainment in Worcester, Mass. And boy, we would before I could drive, we would carpool there with buddies that you get to know at the other LCS, right? So we're carpooling there, and I'm grabbing every Dave Stevens thing I could find. Mark Schultz. Now, Mark Schultz was doing Zenzoic Tales. If you look at it, maybe 1, 2, and 3 don't grab you, but then you start to see this guy grow, and his work just starts getting better. By the time you get to issue 9, he's drawing Double Up, and he's pulling off Frazetta. Not. It's such beautiful work. The feathering, the brushwork is absolutely akin to some masters. So, but I could see it even early on. So I have all that. That's maybe some of the stuff I still kept, was the Zenzoic Tale stuff, because it's just such phenomenal stuff,
Yeah.
As an artist, you kind of wish you could draw like that, but I can't draw like that, But I have an area where I'm pushing myself. I'm always pushing myself to get there. I have people who I think influence me: Butch Geist, Steve Epton, Mike Perkins. These guys have really influenced me a lot.
Names.
Oh, Michael Lark, one of the big influences. So you can kind of see that I've reeled back the because there's a lot of balance in their work. I'd say their work is like 60-40 balance. But this is a comedy book, so I've reeled back the balance and got rid of some of that. But you notice I don't try to over muscle anybody or over ink. Like you can over ink something and really create sort of a lot of bend in what's called dispensation of light. It's really the bend of shadow and form and stuff, like Dale Keown does really, really well. You've seen
Right,
that
right,
stuff.
right.
So that's really just dispensation of light. It's just how you're bending it and you're moving the eye. But I try to peel that back a little bit and be a little bit simple, a little less balance, and really show some of these other guys that really influenced me, like Butch Geis. I'm a little more detailed in my faces, but if you go back to Ruse, if you're ever a fan of Ruse,
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
you can see my faces in that work too. You know, I'm really trying to be that, like, stay on model, be realistic, pull this off, but I'm trying. I don't know how well everyone else will judge me before me, but this is kind of what my idea is of what I'm trying to do.
Well, you do good work. I mean,
Awesome.
I actually am not familiar with your work beyond Florida Man. But I know you've done more. I should try and figure it out what it is. What else have you? What other properties have you done that we would be remotely familiar with?
I was in the supplemental book of Graveyard Shift 2. I did 20 pages in that.
Excellent.
There was a character called Killer 99, who was the Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees type character. He was wearing a prison jumpsuit because he was a convict, and then he sort of turned into this monster. You get the idea of what Graveyard Shift is. It's sort of X-Men meets the Universal Monsters. So
Right.
I have that guy. I have the Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers sort of mashup, and so that was a horror book I did. And with Florida Man, I found my approach when we got really serious about doing it. But with that book, there's probably about 4 or 5 pages in there I really, really love, and about 15 pages I wish I could do again. There's a couple characters that I kept on model and I really liked, and a couple characters I did never find my way. In that book, we were given 60 days to do our 20 pages, and I was actually campaigning a different book. So I lost like 10 days because I was campaigning for a book called Tales from Beyond the Gate, which didn't fund, but still I lost like 10 days. So I didn't get to do a lot of, like, let me flesh this character out and do some concepts and this, that, and the other thing. I really just had to figure out who my characters were by virtue of what I was given and sort of the script and stuff. So a little bit of talk back and forth with the writer, and he said, well, I want one girl who has a shaved side of her head, this, that, and everything. But I never really found them. Like Gary, when I got to the point where I started drawing page 1 with Gary, I really knew him. Gary's easy to do. I can do Gary in my sleep. I might be able to do Gary from any angle that's possible. Floyd is coming a little harder, because Floyd has got like a pompadour with a mullet and like these long not handlebar, but long mustache that goes below his chin.
Uh-huh.
He's a little bit beefier, but not fat, so he's a little harder. But usually that's kind of the thing. You especially when you're creating new, I've done these characters quite a bit prior to getting going again and doing the pages, because I did a lot of promo stuff and a lot of assets for that video and stuff. So there was a lot of times spent with some of them, just not a lot with Floyd. So as we go along, I get better with Floyd, and I could probably draw him from like half the angles I might need, but whereas Gary, I could probably pull off from any angle. So, and that's just me being, that's just an artist, it's hard because these aren't iconic. This isn't Superman where everyone is told you got to fit Superman in this box, unless of course you're somebody like a Mike Huddleston or Mike Kunkel who have done Superman or something. But you have to fit. He has to look like this within your style. And these characters are new and they've never been seen before. So I'm really kind of finding my way with them as we go. Like I said, some of them I can knock out no problem. But yeah, this is part of the process, of creating something new. Can you imagine if somewhere down the line we're on like graphic novel 5,
Right.
we're really sort of developing and bringing in newer characters to go along with our characters, and is there going to be a pimp down the road or something? You know what I mean? So this is eclectic. It does make for a very eclectic book because it's not superheroes, because it's
Yeah.
not those things. The cast can be very versatile. Because we don't have a shield that we're dealing with, and we don't have an Avengers Mansion where there's people coming and going. It's like reality. This is, like you said, Trailer Park Boys. So it's who you might see if you went to Florida. What would these people look like? And Gary, for instance, was the bio on Gary was he's a skinhead, and I really originally, I don't know if you know this show. It's called Moonshiners.
Mhm.
And I thought of this guy named Tickle, and I thought, okay, I'll go with a look kind of like Tickle. And so he sort of started there, but then I thought, you know what? I've been to Florida, and on that side of where there is a lot of redneck people, sort of down the middle of Florida, and on the other side, there's also a lot of Cuban people. So I gave him a little bit of Latino, and that's what Gary ends up with. He's a skinhead, but he's a Latino skinhead, so he doesn't look like a white supremacist. You know what I mean? He has
Right.
enough. He has enough of that Latino in him to sway you away from that first thought, because I didn't want that to be the thought. Again, we're not picking on these people. We're not
Right.
disparaging them. We want you to laugh along with their quirks and mannerisms and things like that.
Yep. No, I love the fact that you were talking about, watching artists evolve, right? And watching them grow, and how exciting it is when you can pick up a particular issue. Like, if you look at like Frank Miller's Daredevil run, for instance, it's like you watch Frank Miller becoming Frank Miller,
Right.
right? From like issue 1, and up, you just watch him developing his style until he comes up with something that's uniquely his own. Also, very big Barry Windsor Smith fan. Love a lot of the guys that you mentioned, and damn it,
I'd add to that,
Simon?
like, if you follow the Daredevil run, and then you get with the conclusion of it, which was Elektra lives.
Yes.
You see the evolve of all that art, and then
Yep.
you see the best of it at that
Yes.
one.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's
You're
him, like,
totally
taking
right.
his time. Like, he's like, let me show you what I could really do with that style if I had time. And he freaking nailed it out of the park.
Yep. And you mentioned Butch Geese, of course. Got a copy of Ruse right there.
Mm-hmm.
The way he draws his faces and everything.
Yeah.
Great stuff. I could see the influence.
Mm.
Of course, you're talking about Florida here, so the colors are very garish, right? It has a very Florida look to it.
Yeah, and geez, I never even thought to tell, because I lived in Florida for 4 years. And you're right. It's like a bathroom down there. It's a lot of seafoam
Right?
green,
Right?
Yeah.
a lot of pinks. Even I lived in Wellington for a while, and we had a Checkers in Wellington, but they were forced to use these colors of this thing that they have, this like almost like a little bit of a mall or strip mall. They had to use all the same. Everyone had to use the same colors, and it was seafoam green and this sort of really, really, really almost beigey pink.
Yeah.
So their Checkers, only thing that could look like their original Checkers look was the in and exit that were lit up. But on the building, on the structure, they had the UC foam green. It was really weird.
Wow. Yeah, because that's one of the things I remember about Florida. When I visit my brother used to live down there. I went down to visit him, stayed a couple of weeks, and one of the things that just really sticks out in my mind is the color scheme.
It sticks out in my mind when I lived in Florida. I tripped out on how much Art Deco was everywhere.
Oh God. Yeah, man. That's the other thing.
And I actually asked about it when I was there, and they're I don't know if they still exist, but at the time when this was 20 years ago, they said that there were city ordinances requiring color schemes and
True.
stylization.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely true.
That explains a lot, doesn't it?
That's why there's an area of Miami that they call the Neon District.
Right.
It's very Latino heavy with Haitians and stuff,
Mhm.
but it has a certain look to it. There was a bit of it in the Birdcage. I don't know if you remember that, but
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was that was some of that was down on the Neon District.
And then of course, that Miami Vice, that definitely left an
Miami is
impression
one of
on
those.
people.
Miami is one of those cities that has had the ordinance, and in fact, Dade County, all across the entire Dade County, had an ordinance that
That's
was required.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's insane.
No, it really is, because there was a hotel that was called the Primrose that was fighting it because they wanted to do reconstruction. And when I was there, and they were having this big old huge thing, and then they had this big old event and party because they were trying to get people to sign petitions. And I mean, seriously, the Primrose had to remodel their hotel in a way that was acceptable to the city rules. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, Bronson Gorilla in the chat. What's up, man? He
Hey,
says
Bronson.
says it has a good vibe. I enjoyed Florida a lot. I had a good time when I was down there.
Yeah. Florida's a lot of fun. And
It
let
is.
me tell you that Miami, if you are somebody, like, say, if you are somebody who appreciates devastatingly beautiful women, go to South Beach
Oh, wow.
and spend a week there, and you will find that there are extremely gorgeous women who have all kinds of different tastes.
Caliente.
Yeah,
That's
that's
all.
it. There's and then, oh my god, Cuban women.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Ooh.
man. Oh yeah. You're damn right about that, brother.
Yeah, back in the again, when I say I gave Gary a little bit Cuban, is because back in the rum running days, when the during Prohibition, and the Italians went down there and inhabited Sarasota, the workers that they got to help with the rum were Cubans, so there was a
Interesting.
huge Cuban population there.
Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, Havana was a go-to spot for the mob for
Yeah,
the
sure
longest
was.
time, and they actually had a situation where the mob was bringing Cubans over here illegally to work for them. You know what I mean? And they weren't like human trafficking them. They were basically hooking them up with travel to the U.S. and so like they could come, and then so they didn't have to escape the embargo with riding a boat across the
Some of the
Atlantic.
underlying reasons, so that everyone knows, right? Say, Prohibition, you want to bring liquor up to New York, and well, it's really hard to buy off a police station with a lieutenant and a chief and a mayor and this, but to buy off a sheriff, that's one guy you got to buy off.
Right.
So
Right.
that's kind of why because Florida has that system of sheriffs. Every county has a sheriff's department. So you only had to buy off maybe 1 or 2, 3 people. You didn't have to buy off 10. So
Right.
it was really easy to produce liquor in Florida and get away with a lot and have the cops cover for you, vice versa. And that's kind of why is because they had a system of sheriffs.
Florida is also like one of the more laid back states that lets you get away with a lot of shit. They're like very stay out my fucking yard. No, they really, really are. You'd be surprised, like, kind of shit that goes on in Florida. I mean, like people don't realize that like Florida is like one of the porn capitals of the United States.
Yeah.
People like, oh, well, Florida, like, yeah, Florida, Vegas, and Hollywood are like the porn capitals. Actually not Hollywood. I would actually say Simi Valley. It's more specific.
Van Nuys.
Van Nuys.
Yep.
Yeah. But like Florida, when they had the spring breaks, they're really major. Now that obviously died back a little bit. That's nowhere near like it used to be. But when they had the spring breaks, they're really major. That was spring break was the dominant income for the entire state of Florida. Just you got to think about like bringing college students to fucking take off their clothes and party hard was the biggest revenue generator, because it would flocks of men who were out of college would come there to watch girls shake their boobs for free, but they would spend their money in hotels and drinks and all that kind of stuff so that they could stand around and watch college girls shake their booties. So
That's great. Oh man, fellas, I got a boogie. I got to tap out.
yeah, let's wrap up. It's been 2.25 hours. We kind of been we kind of got off track and digressed. It was great.
But in a great
Todd
way.
on.
Yeah, seriously, Todd.
Yeah, definitely, Todd. It's great having you around, and definitely you're welcome on here. Like as even if you want to hang out and talk shit, man.
Amen.
You're fully welcome.
Amen.
And everybody in the chat, Bronson, Gorilla, we got Hexalon Comics, we got they're probably all the people that are left. Everybody else is like, fuck you guys.
Anybody that we missed in the chat, man.
Everybody who was here today, everybody who's still here, thank you so much for coming in. We
love the whole lots of you.
We do, and we appreciate you.
Yes, and on Thursday, if anyone wants to sign up and be part of Drawn and Quarter, and where we're going to be doing Florida Man, I'd love to see Simon. That'd be awesome.
You better be there, brother.
Everybody, go check that out, and then keep an eye out for Bleeding Fools follow-up on the Whisper campaign.
Oh, I can't wait.
It'll be very interesting. So everybody, and who knows, we may have Chris on here Tuesday to talk about that. If not,
I hope so.
If not, a special event on Thursday before the drawing event. So
give them hell. Don't let them. They gotta be in fear. Then it'll stop. They gotta be in fear.
Yep. There has to be consequences for the actions, or else the actions will never stop.
Yep.
That is definitely true. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And we love you. And we will see you next week. Bye.